Okay, I've already done all the cutting. We're back at the shop. I'm going to talk a little bit about chain and what it takes to go fast. And, you know, if you guys have seen any of my chain filing videos, you know, and I said this the other day, you know, I'm a better teacher than I am a filer. I'm decent. Don't even get me started about square. I'm so inconsistent that, you know, I can nail it every once in a while. And, you know, then other times it's just okay. You know, I mean, that looks like it'll be all right. So here's the numbers we'll talk about for these. So all of this was done with one new C83 chain, fresh out of the box, never been in wood. And then the rest of these were done on used C83 chassis. So I've got a Hexa grind that I do with my Oregon grinder. And if you'll watch, that'll be the second round of test cuts. You can hear that in the wood. It's got a little bit of jumpiness to it. It's not a super smooth chain. And I think maybe if I left the rakers alone, and I think as an overview, we talk a little bit before you guys watch the cuts, is, you know, the rakers are everything. You know, you can get a perfect tooth, and you got to have just that right amount of balance where you're taking a full-size chip with every tooth equally, but it's not dragging the RPMs down. I'd rather have more RPMs and take a tiny bit smaller chip. You know, if I get another 1,000 RPM in the cut, I'm cutting faster than if I were dragging the engine down with some bigger chips. And these numbers will prove it. So I think that Hexa grind recipe, and I've seen the wheel that Hexa uses, and it's got a V shape in the wheel. So when it comes down, it takes, you know, the top and the sides. So you've got that, where mine is just, I do like a 20-degree profile on the wheel as it, you know, 20-degree profile on the wheel, and flat spot the bottom of the wheel. So I don't have like a return. Anyway, it works out fine. And then I did a hand filing, and it was super sharp, but you can hear I'm losing RPMs. And the only thing I did different with that same chain on the third round of cuts and the fourth round of cuts is just go back and take 3 or 4 swipes off every tooth. Just as sharp, but, you know, the rakers were just a little bit on the low side. And running an 8-pin sprocket, it's going to magnify that. Even though that saw's been ported, you're going to get to a point where you're going to draw down the end. Brand hammer new C83 chain, fresh out of the box. That says 93. I had to cut it down. Never seen wood. Got my little beater saw here. That's a 665 with a 7910 top end. I am running an 8-pin sprocket on here, and this is my own recipe using a chain grinder, making Hexa, steel Hexa knockoff. Let me get you in a little closer. All right, let me get this buttoned up and we'll go again. Here we go, homemade Hexa. I think that might be a little faster. All right, same 8-pin sprocket. Here's my hand file. Here, let me get you in a little closer. These are all done on don't look too close, you cut your eye. Nice hook, everything's nice and sharp, rakers are set. Hopefully, I can beat some C83. Here we go. Well, evidently my hand file ain't good enough. I think I went and checked my rakers, and I think maybe they're a tick high, because I could definitely feel it draw the saw down just a little bit more than the other two chains. Let's talk about this back at the shop. All right, so here's the good news, bad news. There's your C83 info. There's a Hexa info. There's the first hand file. And here's the second hand file. So let's talk about this. You know, okay, so now let me go back to this Hexa thing. It's the fastest, most consistent chain I can make. It's the easiest thing for me to do, to put a good chain on. It doesn't take me hardly any time to grind it. And, you know, hand filing, you know, if you really want it to cut well, you need to put some time into the chain. So let's look at, take you in just that's as close as I can zoom. I'll try and keep it in the light. So there's that beak on C83. You can't recreate, well, you can try and recreate that, but that's the gist of it, where it's ground the first time with a traditional wheel, I assume, you know, it gets here, and then another wheel comes in and just trims and makes a skinnier top plate, because it's super sharp out of the box. I can make my own teeth, you know, as sharp as these out of the box. Let me tilt this up just a little bit. You know, and this is just chain, like a once-used chain for some test cuts. If I can't find one with a little bit cleaner. So there's that top plate right there. you know, it doesn't have a ton of hook to it, but it has that beak up there. And I think having that skinnier top plate gives you a faster, smoother cut. I haven't checked the rakers on these. I think Bodie alluded to that the rakers were a little higher on this. But if you'll look, and if I can find one, come on, focus. You back it out just a touch. So I went back through after I just gave some quick swipes. See that right there? I'll show you what I did. So this old chassis was filed with a traditional 13/64 file. And now this is your file for climbing chain. This is a 5/16 or 5/32, I'm sorry. So anyway, what I did was I came in here at the very top of the tooth and made just a couple of passes like this. So I'm just filing the top right there. Here, I'll take you a little closer. Make sure we're lined up here. So again, so I've got the file just a little bit above the tooth, and I'm just going in there with a few quick strokes, light strokes, to give, and I think there's enough light you can see this, a little bit of C83 hook slash beak. See that? I think that we get the gist of it. Anyway, I think that's been about the closest I've been able to duplicate C83 to put that little bit of a beak, skinnier top plate on there. Now the frustrating thing is, well, you know, you get this great out of the box chain, but when it's dull, what do? Now you're back to just regular round filing, and you know, you're going to be 3 seconds slower if you're good, or like me, you know, if you're okay like me, decent. Again, there's people out there that can file 10 times better than me and squares faster. And anyway, hope you enjoyed this. This was, you know, kind of demeaning. I really thought I would have been able to outfile the C83. Come close, but we ain't playing horseshoes or hand grenades.